Hello, everyone. I'm Syahna Maryam with the student ID 2314026047, and I'm from class English Literature B. This is my final course for thesis writing, a presentation towards my thesis proposal called Hierarchy of Needs of Pippa from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder novel, 2019 by Holly Jackson. Now we shall begin. This is the table of contents. Number one is Who is Pippa movie from AGGDM. And then number two, chapter one, background research question, proposed scope, limitation, and significances. Number three, chapter two, literary reviews, research method. Now, who is Pippa? She is the main character of the first novel of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, written by Holly Jackson. Now, she is a schoolgirl with the aim of life to enter Cambridge University so that she employs everything that she can, which involve a lot of literature, a lot of essays and research. But then one thing happened when she starts feeling uncomfortable around her English teacher, around her academic counselor. So in order to refresh her mind, she has to um, walk through the streets that she doesn't normally go to. And that's how she made unsettling circumstances, which was a murder. And then she decided to turn the murder investigation into her extended project qualification as a college submission. And then for my first chapter, this is what I manifest. In the background, I would like to employ psychology in literature to humanize the characters. According to Hogan 2010, humanizing a character is done by understanding that they have the notion of emotions, thoughts, and then fundamental needs. And it correlates to the study because literature conveys characters and psychology is the characters being in different emotional circumstances. And as I have stated about fundamental needs, that I would like to also employ motivation theory and hierarchy of needs. Motivation theory talks about a major drive that brings humans to satisfy their needs from a day-to-day basis, mostly coming from goals. So in order to secure financial stability, for example, you need to get a job. In order to be energized, you have to eat. So that's what I call motivation. And the hierarchy of needs is that in order to achieve a certain motivation, there are some kind of classification towards the needs. And it's a theory derived from Abraham Maslow that I would like to explain later in my second chapter. And then I would like to use intrinsic and extrinsic needs towards my data and data source. It's literary views to assess about story through its narratives and other standpoints. My research question is, how does Pippa's character convey the fulfillment of humans' fundamental needs? How does her motivation propel her to fulfill all the humans' fundamental needs? And that correlates to the purpose. The significance is to acknowledge overlaps of some attributes in humans' drive to fulfill their needs. And the scope is the character herself, and limitation is only the first book of the trilogy in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Next is my second chapter. Motivation, a major drive that brings humans to satisfy their goals of their day-to-day basis. It mostly derives from their needs and comes from internal and external factors. For example, if you want to, for example, you get inspired by a person to achieve more in your life, that's called external goal. But if internal goal, that means you have this sense of yourself, of becoming content, of becoming confident, for example. And it has positive outcome in which if fulfilled, then you get to accomplish a lot more needs. But negative outcomes, if you don't achieve it, then it can lead to depression. And it can be perceived through different theories, one of it being hierarchy of needs. Hierarchy of needs derives into five: physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and actualization. In physiological needs, you have the standard requirements such as oxygen, house, food, things like that. Safety needs, you want to be far away from any possible threats and dangers. Three, love and belonging needs, it means you are feeling content with the friends that you have, with the family that you have. And then esteem needs, it's um, feeling secure, feeling confident about yourself. And actualization needs is when you are established enough that you can step to the world on your own. Intrinsic and extrinsic needs, it's literary views upon how a story is portrayed so that the society can grasp a conventional understanding. In intrinsic views, there are characters, characterization, plotline, timeline, and place settings. And in extrinsic views, other things outside of the literary framework, such as motivation theory and hierarchy of needs. And then my last chapter. Oh, this is the review of the related studies. There are characters portrayed to perceive ideal states but are disrupted, or some characters redeem themselves with false hopes, and some also show tendencies of self-isolation, and that's why the tenets of self-actualized people are used in some researches. To my research design, I would like to use qualitative method because I would like to observe because I cannot interact with the fictional characters, but I will also use the ground theory, which is a baseline which the study follows and it provides the tenet required to observe, right? And then the data and data source. Of course, the novel A Good Girl's Guide to Murder novel by Holly Jackson, the first one out of three. Data source, sentences, paragraphs, dialogue in between characters, and production logs. What I mean with production logs is that um, inside the book, there are some verbalized interviews that I need to insert and also some photographs towards the evidences. And a research instrument is myself who has read the data source and I'm able to follow the ground theory in order to observe. And then the data collection technique, observation, as I have previously stated, and data analysis follows the prerequisites of Maslow's hierarchy of needs written in qualitative method. And that is the last of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.